are live over on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and on air as well. What's up, Monster? Hey, everyone. Okay, let's do this, Rico. We've got a friend.
Yeah, that's right. We made friends across the ocean, and we're gonna reach out. Right now, America is on all eyes on the ballot. So we'll talk about that. Election day for them. So we'll talk about that. Plus, living in a place they call New York City, writing great songs. The last time we had him in the studio, he was talking about Lyme disease. He was talking about overcoming and being a great. Let's just say that this guy, we draw energy from in times when you feel like giving up, in times when you feel like, especially now, this 2020. So he's such an inspiration. Let's bring him back to the show. Ladies and gentlemen, from Brooklyn, New York, give it up for Jesse Ruben.
What's up, guys? Oh my God.
Hey.
Hi. Thank you for joining us. It's so nice to see you again.
You too. I miss you. This is so not as good as being in person, but it's the best we can do. So I'll take it.
That's right. It's the 2020 way of hanging out, basically. Jesse, before anything else, how have you been? Because you are calling us from New York, and at the start of the pandemic, New York was one of the toughest hit. So how have you been? How have you and your wife been this entire quarantine? What's been happening, bro?
Yeah, it's been a really crazy, interesting, scary time where we were like the epicenter. Everything was basically locked down, and then numbers have started to go down here, and we're actually one of the safest places in the country right now, which is great. And unfortunately, cases are going up everywhere. We are spending a lot of time together. We just redid our whole apartment because we have all this free time now, which is why these walls behind me are blank and white instead of like beigey yellow, which my wife hated so much. We're spending a lot of time together, which is amazing. I'm reading a lot of books. I'm playing a lot of guitar. We're exploring the neighborhood. I've only been to Manhattan like twice since March, basically. Like, we're really just sort of staying put where we are. We're trying to just make it through as best we can. We don't know how long this is going to last, and we're trying to make the best of it with like medium results. I'm used to traveling all the time. My wife is used to working all the time, so we have a lot of free time right now. And in some ways that's really good, and in some ways we're trying to figure out ways to make the best of it. But I'm pretty sure she still loves me, so that's good. and so I have no complaints.
When spending time with your wife, we all know you've written songs for her and about her.
Sure.
Now, when you're stuck in the house together for such a long period of time, were you able to develop a 10-track album just by staring at her? How was it?
So I've definitely done a good amount of writing since the pandemic hit, being home all the time. I would say about half the songs are about her, and then the other half are like pretty political and like mostly just like what is going on in this country. And then of the songs that I'm writing about her, half of those are like, you're amazing, and then the other half are basically just me apologizing for being a crazy person. So it's like I think it's like a good balance of all three of those things,
So can you imagine apology song?
It's a healthy marriage. Let's just put it that. But you know what, Jesse? What I find so interesting is, this pandemic and the lockdown has really brought out the best and the worst in people. It's also made people realize certain skills or interests that maybe they never knew they enjoyed or had in them, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to say stuck because that sounds so negative, but being with your wife 24/7, especially during this crazy time, is there anything that you guys discovered about each other that you didn't know before? Because one of the reasons why I admire Jesse so much is because not only is he an amazing artist, but he's such a loving husband. Like, you truly are husband goals. So I mean, is there anything that you discovered about each other during this pandemic?
I love that you asked that, because the thing about my wife, first of all, I wish that she was listening to this, because I would love for her to hear you say that.
She can watch back.
But she is good at everything. We like joke about, like, she just like decides on something, like a new task or skill, and then she masters it instantly. So like at the beginning of pandemic, she's always been really into baking, but then she was like, all right, I'm gonna get into sourdough bread. And within like 2 weeks, she was making these like world-class, amazing sourdough breads. The other thing that I just have to point out that she is crushing it at is I haven't gotten a haircut by anyone from her since March. She cut my hair today, and she is incredible at it. It's almost annoying that she's so good at so many things. But so so baking, haircuts. She's gotten really good at jigsaw puzzles. That's always been my thing. She's gotten really good at jigsaw puzzles. And cooking also, just in general. We didn't order takeout for like 5 months. We cooked every meal together. So we've been like, I know we got really strict when it came to like interacting with people. So definitely like the cooking stuff, the baking stuff. I'm gonna, as soon as I hang up with this, I'm gonna think of like 17 other things that she's been really good at. It's like hilarious. She was like, I'm gonna make pies, and then she started making these amazing pies, and then we gained a bunch of weight, and then we had to eat healthy, so she stopped making pies. But I mean, she's very good at haircuts. I don't know if I'm ever gonna go back to a barber because she's really crushing the haircut.
How much did she charge you? Did she charge you $12?
I wash the dishes. Occasionally, I make the bed, and I try not to be too annoying, and that seems to balance out.
It's a pretty good deal if you're thinking about it. Now, Jesse, the last time we had you, Rico and I were hanging out with you. The monsters were obsessed with This Is Why I Need You. I think for all the monsters that are tuned in, if you're new to this, Jesse Ruben is in charge of that amazing track, This Is Why I Need You. The one that made us all cry, whether we were on the train, in the car, or whatever, wishing that we had that kind of love. Jesse, after that hit, and you go back to the States, and then you're doing all these things, writing all these songs, and then the pandemic hits. I mean, how has life been for you as an artist? Because it's different for everyone. There's so many artists now dropping full-length albums way ahead of schedule. There are other artists that are literally taking a break. I mean, how was it for you? How did you cope with this change and this uncertainty? Because like you said earlier, you were so used to traveling all the time, doing all these gigs, and then you're locked in. So what was life like for you as an artist during this whole time?
It's definitely been a challenge, and it's really put into focus. Really, the pandemic has done a lot of things, but one of the things is it's really brought into focus just like how much we're not taking care of creative people, especially here in the States, where like you have all these artists and creative people that don't have health insurance and are trying to figure out how they're going to get money, and it's really kind of scary. For me, obviously, we canceled all shows. I was gonna start putting music out like in April, and then when the pandemic hit, I X'd that idea. And then I wasn't sure, and then I was like, well, maybe I'll wait until the pandemic's over before I start releasing new music. But then that got crazy because what am I gonna do? Sit on an album for 2 years? I'll be a totally different person by then. So I started doing a weekly Friday night live stream in March, and I actually just finished them. I did 30 Friday night live streams, which was really fun and exciting because they were like, each one had a different theme, whether it was like songs that had the color blue in the title, songs about days of the week, songs about animals. Like I mean, because I did so many of them, it got really kind of weird and nutty. And then I would take requests from the people watching. And then the other thing that I did that was really fun that I always wanted to do before, but I was always too scared, was I would have people in the comments just type in topics, and then I would make up a song on the spot.
Wow.
And that was always really exciting because it kept me on my toes. But it's been really challenging because I am somebody who, I love being on the road. I love traveling. I love driving. I love flying places. I love meeting fans. I love being in a room with people. I love sound check. I love hanging out backstage. I love playing for an audience and getting that energy and that vibe. And so to be stuck at home has been really challenging. Like, to be honest, I have not been coping with this as well as some other people have, because I just feel so antsy and I want to be out there, but it's also not safe, So it's like I'm trying to channel my creativity into other ways. We're looking at getting like a studio set up so we have a space outside of the home, because right now we're just in our apartment all the time. One thing that I have been doing quite a bit of that the pandemic has actually helped is I remember the last time I was there, Oh man, thank you. Sorry, I'm just reading this comment. Thank you. That's amazing. One of the things I talked about when I was with you guys was all the Lyme disease stuff that I was doing, and one thing that we started doing was I joined the board of an organization, and now we host meetups online for Lyme patients who are all over the world. So they have a place to come and talk about their experience and connect with other patients. And that's something that probably wouldn't have happened if we hadn't been forced to be in a pandemic and forced to do everything digitally. So that's been really fun and something to I can spend time on and focus and help people and interact with people and talk to people. And so that's been really great. But the problem with it is we just don't know how long it's going to go. And I think as human beings, we just have such a hard time with not knowing how long it's going to go. And it's scary because like, I don't want to be sitting in my apartment for another year, and it's very possible it could be that or more, you know? So I'm going to write and record an album in quarantine. Like, that's crazy. I'm going to now have 2 albums that I won't have toured on. When quarantine's over, we don't know if venues are going to be open. So there's so many unknowns as a creative person. You know, I have a lot of friends that have normal jobs and they're working from home, and their lives aren't very different. The ones with kids is very challenging. Luckily, or whatever, we don't have kids yet, so we don't have to deal with that. But
well, guess what? When it's 2 years to quarantine, you will have one, and your baby's gonna be named Artichoke Pizza.
We're on air, so hello to all the monsters tuning in. We are hanging out with Jesse Ruben, and we're talking about uncertainty and, you know, these crazy pandemic times. Now, Jesse, it's funny that you should talk about, you know, we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know what the future holds. Let's talk about future, because that's something interesting. I mean, this song, I was stalking you a little bit, and it turns out you wrote this like 6 months before you got married, right? And you were testing it out during your gigs, and you were asking people to not record it, and they didn't. I mean, that must have been so cool, right?
It was cool because I had some like bigger shows. I had some like outdoor shows, and I had everything from like little quiet like house concerts to little clubs, and then some bigger ones. And I was being really sneaky because it was important to me. First of all, when people find out, when you're a singer-songwriter and people find out you're getting married, the first question they always ask is, are you going to sing at the wedding? And I was like, no, I'm not singing at my wedding. I might sing at the rehearsal dinner the night before, though. So that was kind of like my compromise. And so I wanted to make sure that the song was good. But the only way to make sure a song is good is if you play it for people. So literally like 30 or 40 times, anytime I had a show that was not in New York, that my wife wasn't there, I would play it. But before I played it, I would make everyone put their cell phones away. Like, you know, all the people holding up phones during shows, I would make them all put their cell phones away. I would ask them not to tweet about it, not to post about it on Facebook, and nobody did because they were so psyched to like be in on it with me, you know? So by the time I played it for her at the rehearsal dinner with all our friends and family, it was like such this amazing special moment, and I got such great compliments from it beforehand. I was pretty confident that it was going to go over well. But then what was funny is at the rehearsal dinner, I played the song, and then afterwards, we had like all this time saved for people to like give speeches and stuff, but nobody wanted to go after me playing the song. So then the rehearsal dinner just ended way too early.
Oh, but that's so sweet if you really think about it, because it became a special project, not just for you, but for your fans as well and the people involved in it, which I think is so special. Now, cut to you dropping the song just in September, right? Just like a couple of weeks back. I mean, we were talking about how you were saying, oh my God, am I going to release another album and not even tour it? I mean, what made you decide to just drop Future in September? I mean, was it just were you just so exasperated? Like, you know what? We don't know what the future holds. Here's a great song. I mean, what was your thought process going into that? Because it's not easy for an artist to release new music during this time. Yeah, people are going to listen to it, but and then what happens next, right? You can't tour it. You can't really do a lot of pressers for it. So what was the thought process behind dropping it in September?
I just felt like, first of all, because part of me felt like kind of weird about putting music out right now, where it was like, there's all this stuff going on in the world. There's all these crazy things happening. Like, do I want to try to like vie for people's attention during this time? But the response that I got, the overwhelming response that I got from people was basically like, we need art right now. and that's what you do, so you should do it. I actually thought there would be like some kickback from putting the song out, like, how could you do this right now? We need to focus on other things. And there really hasn't been any at all. And so the response has been pretty special, actually, because I mean, it happens anytime you put a song out, you hope they're like, you don't know how they're going to react. And it's been really special for a song that's so special and meaningful and specific to me and my wife. That song has like had such an impact on people in ways I never thought it would. So getting messages of people like, I just had my kid a couple months ago and I listened to Future and I see my relationship with my son playing out and it's so meaningful to me. Like, all that kind of stuff I think is really special. I think people need distractions right now. They need things to focus on. So if I can provide that, awesome. One of the things that's been difficult about it for sure is like a lot of the people who do press, especially here in the States, they all got laid off. All the people at radio stations got laid off. So like getting people to hear the songs is harder now than it was before, and it was challenging before. I do want to say though, going back to your question about things that we found out about each other, the music video for Future, my wife also made the video and edited the video.
Oh,
That sounds spectacular, Sheer.
Yeah.
you make me feel like this big
No,
right now.
I know. I
What am I
know.
doing with my life? But yeah, I mean, guys, we're learning a lot from Jesse Ruben, what he's been up to, his latest song. And Rico, I mean, I feel like you guys need to have a nice little chat man to man,
Yeah, we're gonna learn a
You
thing
need
or
tips?
two about. Yeah, that's what it is.
No,
So,
you got it.
So Karla's going to be moving real quick and playing some more hits for you. But online, we continue with our interview with Jesse Ruben. Now, for those that are watching us, feel free to share this. You released 2 songs during these pandemic times. What's the other one, and what is it all about?
So Future was the first one that came out like 6 or 7 weeks ago, and then I just released a song last Friday, right before the election, which is happening now, which is called Whole World Watches, which is a song that I wrote the day after Trump got elected, and just basically, I had so much fear and upset and unknown about what was going to happen with him leading our country, and it was important to put that into the world before this election. Hopefully by tomorrow we'll have a different president and it'll just be a crazy thing that happened one time. But it was important to get that message out, and because so many people were feeling the same anxiety. So it was just about just getting the song out before the election so people had something to sort of latch onto. And the response again has been like really powerful. I mean, it's that song in particular, that's not like a big pop song. That's a straight up like political folk ballad thing, and people have really become attached to it. So for me, I'm trying to figure out, as I get older, I'm trying to figure out what kind of songs I want to write, what kind of artist I want to be, what kind of music I want to make, the messages that I want to have in those songs. And so for me, putting out a political song was like a no-brainer, because it's something that I think about all the time. It's something I follow all the time. It's very important to me. And there's a lot of really crazy stuff going on in this country right now,
Now, you did mention about writing songs on the spot. Now, we know that you have The World Watches. Now, can you do one on the spot now? How you're feeling as you see the election numbers are, sort of, well, let's just say not going your way. Can you do it on the spot?
No, that's Free Falling. I'm afraid I don't know what's gonna happen. It's not as bad as I imagined, but at the end of the day, I'm afraid. And I'm stressed. I hate to admit it, I confess. Why is this country such a mess? I'm too stressed. I don't know, how was that?
Yeah, it's dope, man. That's dope. All right. It's just, you could feel that already. And a lot of people could always relate to your music. And let's get some more of the freestyle songs. Let's see.
Oh
Let's talk.
man.
We were talking about your wife ordering pizza earlier. You
my
got
wife,
something for.
my wife. Just for the people listening and watching at home, we had dinner, and then we're watching the election, and she got so stressed that she stress ordered her favorite pizza for dessert, which is not a thing that happens all the time. But if you're ever in New York, when it's safe to do that, you gotta check out Artichoke Pizza. That's the best pizza in New York, according to my wife. So don't hold me to that, but she really likes it. She's in there so mad that I'm talking about this right now. And so you want me to do a pizza song?
Yeah, go. Pizza song.
All right. We're gonna continue.
Pizza man.
There's too much anger. Way too much hurt. I know something that'll help me calm the demons. How about some pizza for dessert?
Whether it's artichoke or pineapple.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Put like a rap track in there.
Artichoke, pineapple. Doesn't matter how far you travel. Yeah. Dude, I'm gonna release the artichoke pizza song after this.
Right, and they're gonna love you for that. They're gonna have you on a billboard. It just goes, make your wife happy.
I'll take it.
Artichoke pizza.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Dude,
Straight up.
When you come to New York, we'll take you. I'll take you to all the spots. You can wear that shirt.
Dude, I'm wearing the shirt for you, man. You got the OG New York.
Meanwhile, I'm wearing a T-shirt with all these other cities. I'm trying to get out of here right now,
yeah.
But
how do you do it? How do you stay connected to people so much in a way that you treat everybody not like strangers, but you treat them as friends, man? And it's so authentic that people love you for that. I love you for that, man. You know what I mean? So how do you do it? How do you keep on keeping on, dude?
I think it's important. First of all, when I started playing music when I was like 16. I wanted to blow up and be a big child prodigy, and be famous by the time I was 18, and that didn't happen. And I've been doing this for a long time, and I found that the best thing to do, the longer you're in a career, especially like mine, is you gotta just be great to people. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that being a singer-songwriter has taught me more than anything else is how awesome people are. Because when I was first starting out with no money and no fans and no nothing, and getting around sleeping at friends of friends of friends' basements and being driven to random bus stations at 2 a.m. by people I just met. And so it really gives you an opportunity to see how awesome people are. Mm-hmm. And if you're somebody who's going to take time out of your life to spend time with my music and my art and what I do, I can't do anything but love on that, So mm-hmm. For me, it's part of it is like life experience, because when I was younger, I was a jerk and I was arrogant and I was stupid. And as I got older, and especially after I got sick and then I got better, I just found it's just really important to be great with people. And also, most people are awesome. I mean, I haven't seen you guys in like over a year almost, if not more, 2 maybe.
Yeah, and especially with this pandemic hitting, it's like, whoa, we had him in the studio. We're talking for such a long time.
Yep.
You're with Kyle Patrick. I remember that.
Yep.
Click 5.
Mm-hmm.
And next thing you know, you're across the seas. And we're like, man, when are we going to get him on the show? And next thing you message. And I'm like, hey, be great to hear him on the show. It'd be great to see how he is.
Well, I just want to make sure you guys didn't forget about me,
Dude, we don't forget. Great, especially with great people, we don't forget. That's the thing that we have here in the Philippines and around the world, that great music just keeps on flowing, man. But you have any advice for, since you've been doing this for such a long time, as a songwriter, there are a lot of songwriters out there that's trying to get a song out, not sure, or they're questioning themselves. You have any tips and advice for the songwriters out there?
I have so many. I think the first thing that you really want to figure out is what you want to say. And by that, I mean, just to give you an example of in my life, a long time ago, probably 10 years ago, I did a show, small show, went really well, but all my songs were about my ex-girlfriend, right? And I spent the whole show just saying how horrible my ex-girlfriend was. And people were cheering and people were really on board. And I walked off stage and I had the thought, like, I contributed nothing to those people, right? I just convinced them that my ex-girlfriend was mean. That's it. I contributed nothing. Okay, if people are gonna take time out of their lives and they're gonna pay money and they're gonna get in their cars and they're gonna drive to see me and they're gonna listen to me on Spotify and they're gonna, what do I actually want to say that's worth them listening to, right? And that was a big shift. So for me, like, you gotta figure out what you want to write about and what you want to say. You gotta figure out who you are and not trying to just pretend. I tried to be John Mayer for 10 years. That didn't work. I'm not him, right? So you want to learn from your influences and find your own style. You want to push yourself when it comes to being creative. You don't want to write the same song over again. You want to be musically interesting. You want to be lyrically interesting. You want to write from different points of view. And also, no matter how much time and energy you spend making a song, you need to spend 10 times that trying to get people to hear it. Because I think there's like 50,000 new songs on Spotify a day, you know? So it's a lot of work. Being a singer-songwriter is way more than just writing songs. I wish I could just sit and write songs all day. No. There's a lot of emails. There's a lot of rejection. There's a lot. But I will say that being a singer-songwriter, being a musician, getting to make music that is a part of people's lives and a part of like the special moments in people's lives is the absolute best thing in the world, you know?
I mean, I could see how you channeled it from the ex-girlfriend, and then now you've come to write inspirational songs. I mean, was there a turning point in your life that you like, okay, cool, the ex is good, but I gotta move on, and you found the wife?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely was like, why do I need, like, why am I writing songs about this person who dumped me? Like, what am I doing? Like, there's so many songs about that. And I get it. It brings up a lot of feelings. But after a while, it was like, what do I want to say? And that was a big turning point for me. That's when I started running the marathon. Started running the marathons in New York. I wrote a song called "We Can," trying to inspire people. I started being more politically motivated. I started writing songs that told stories about people that weren't just me. On my first two albums, anytime I sang "I" on the album, I was talking about myself. And then after that, it was about maybe I'm singing from somebody else's point of view, telling somebody else's story, writing from a female perspective, writing from an older person's perspective, telling a story about two people that have never met, and I get to create the characters and what happens to them and why they are where they are and why they're saying and doing these things. Like, that to me became really interesting. And now it's actually sort of come full circle, because now I'm starting to be, because I'm here in my apartment and spending so much time at home, I've gotten way more introspective, and now I'm writing more about myself again. Sometimes in a positive way, and sometimes like you need to get it together a little bit, you know, because I'm not perfect, you know, and I'm learning how to be a good person. I'm learning how to be a good husband. I'm learning how to be a good friend, and I'm trying to take care of myself. I'm trying to take care of the people in my life, and yeah, there's a lot to say, especially right now with everything going on.
I mean, do you feel like music is therapy in a way? And getting it out there?
I think I heard John Mayer do an interview once where he said music is not therapy, therapy is therapy. But I think, because I do both, right? I'm in therapy and I also play music. But I think the gift that a song can do is I can write a song about my personal experience. And if I do it correctly, when somebody else hears it, it can directly translate onto their own life. And for that moment, they can feel less alone in the world. They can feel like their insurmountable problems are surmountable. They can feel like the thing that's driving them crazy is actually possible for it to go away. And so I think that's what's really beautiful about writing songs, is you're trying to write somebody else's life experience in a way that they've never thought before. Like, oh, I wish I could have, I've been trying to figure out how to put it into words, and you put it into words. Like, that's what I've been trying to say. I think that's great songwriting to me.
I mean, growing up, who were the songwriters that you were looking up to? Were you a fan of Phil Collins? Were you a fan of, let's see, Sting, David Bowie? Who were you listening to?
I got into Sting in college, but I was really into like because my dad grew up in the 60s, so it was like the Beatles, Rolling Stones, Jimi Hendrix, who is an amazing guitar player, but
Oh yeah.
I think he's a super underrated songwriter. I think his songwriting is amazing. And Cream, Eric Clapton, all that kind of like rock and roll stuff. And then I sort of got into all the great folk artists. So Simon and Garfunkel, James Taylor, Joni Mitchell, Jackson Brown, Nick Drake, Elliott Smith. And then I got into some of the newer guys. Ben Folds, who I think is a
Amazing.
unbelievable lyricist, like unbelievable lyricist. Ben Folds, Matt Nathanson, obviously John Mayer. Like there's so many. I just think of myself as one in like a long, endless line of singer-songwriters. There's so many good ones. There's so much that you can do with just a person and a voice and an instrument. And to me,
You
that's
ever
interesting.
picked up an electric guitar and wanted to just go like harder? Karla's joining us. She's
No,
back again.
I was trying to do a smooth transition, but Rico and Jesse were having a moment. So,
Yeah, we were talking about, Karla, we were just talking about songwriting, and we were
okay.
talking about inspirations and who he grew up with as far as let's see, being the voice for the people out there who are thinking things and getting you through it.
Yeah.
That's what we were talking about. And he played, what you missed out, Karla, is he played an artichoke song and he played something about an election.
He
You
put me
missed
on the
out.
spot. He made me do a song on the spot. It was so rude.
But rude, yes, but at the same time, that's like your bread and butter. You're so good on your feet, dude. So I mean, that with a fake humility over there. But you guys got to chat. I guess I just have to watch it back to all the monsters on air. Facebook.com/RX931, YouTube.com/RX931. If you want to see the artichoke song and something about the elections, two things that apparently go
Do it.
together.
Oh
Anyway,
yeah.
I mean, I know I put that on a lot, but Jesse, this is such an incredible time as well for creatives in terms of, finding inspiration, looking for new ways to get your art out there. I mean, what, I don't know if Rico's asked this already, but what keeps you going in that sense? Because, it's very easy for other people to just give up. It's very easy for other people to literally just hit pause. But you are somebody that, you continue to soldier forward. What gives you that strength and that drive? Because it's a hard time right now, especially for creatives.
Yeah, and I think part of it is taking care of yourself, and
Mhm.
if that means like taking a break and hitting pause, I think you should do it, which I definitely have had time during this quarantine where it's like I'm not going to be creative today. I might not be creative this week.
Mhm.
But it's been interesting connecting with other creative people, being in touch with them, collaborating with them online. I have friends that like have written like 10 songs their whole lives, and then they've written 30 songs in the last 2 months. So it's like
Wow.
constantly being creative, constantly pushing yourself. For me, it's because so much of what I do is as a solo artist. It's all about being self-motivated, and that doesn't always happen. But for me, I always want to. It's always about like the next thing. So like I'm putting an album out now, and it'll come out probably in March, and then it's like now what's after that? There's always you always want to have more material. You're always trying to push yourself as a writer, as a creative person, as an artist. And as you grow up, your tastes change and your point of view changes, and you want your music to reflect that. And I just never want to feel. I guess the thing that every songwriter doesn't want to admit is we're always worried in the back of our heads that the last song we wrote is going to be the last song we ever write. And so
Mhm.
we're always like I'm always looking for the next song. I'm always looking for the next idea. I'm always looking for the next title. I've got a whiteboard that's sitting on the wall right here that's just covered in like doodles of dumb ideas I had in the middle of the night, and I woke up and I jotted them down, and some of them I can't even read. I've got all these hilarious voice notes on my phone of me mumbling into it in like totally incoherent stuff that I think is brilliant because it's 4:30 in the morning and I'm not going to remember it unless I write it down. So for me, it's always about chasing creativity and pushing myself to be more creative. And sometimes, and recently, that's been turning the microscope inward and talking about myself and things that I want to change and ways that I could be better and things that I want to learn. And because we're home, so I'm just hanging out with myself and my wife. There's we're not having a lot of outside interaction, so it's been interesting being more introspective. But I certainly don't want to give up. I certainly don't want to quit. I've been doing this for too long. I'm not going to let quarantine take me down. I didn't let Lyme disease take me down. I'm not going to let quarantine take me down, you know? So I'm always going to be creative. I'm always going to want to connect with people. I'm always going to want to tell stories because that's what I do and that's what I love. And I'm going to do it even if no one's watching, even if my computer's off and my phone's off and nobody's paying attention. I'm still always going to be searching for that because I just love being creative. I love making things. I love writing. It's my favorite thing, you know?
See,
I love this man. I know I said this the last time he was here in the booth, but you know when you feel like you want someone to really, really, really be your friend? That's Jesse Ruben to me. Like, this is a great
right?
to have as a friend. No, Jesse, that's very big of you to say as well. And that's very inspiring because you do know what it's like to struggle and to
Yeah.
have hardships and challenges. Lyme disease isn't a joke. It's
Yeah.
something that not a lot of people are really aware of. It's something that you've struggled with and you've surpassed and created this amazing hub of awareness. And I think that's something that's so great. It's a perfect example of, taking something that can be quite negative and dark and gloomy and making it something good and inspiring and educational at the same time. I don't want you to ever stop writing songs, okay? I'm just going to put it out there.
I appreciate that. Well, now I was going to,
Yeah,
but now I won't.
he was gonna be a vlogger. He was gonna end his musical career.
Vlog. Okay, fun question.
Yeah.
Is that something you might consider? Maybe, possibly. Yes, please. Like
Vlogging?
Vlogging, Jesse.
About what?
About your life with your wife.
Your wife's barbershop.
Yeah.
Maybe doing vlogging. Hey, it's a big thing right now.
We've been talking about doing a podcast together because we're home all the time and either like talking stuff out between us or like calling friends. We're trying to figure out ways that we can work together for sure. Although I had never thought about doing a vlog where people would want to see me get my hair cut in my apartment. But if there's an audience for that, I am available.
Jesse,
There you
there's
go.
audience for like people
Everything.
who show their feet. I mean, my goodness, you're an interesting guy. Your wife
True.
sounds incredible. It would be so great because you see, you're responsible for all these songs that we love, but no one really knows what your life is like. You're
I
living
like
in-
it. It's mystery. I like it.
Yes, but at the same time, give the people what they want.
Okay.
We want vlog. We want vlog.
We want
We
to
want vlog.
like sourdough recipe. I mean, these are
Mhm.
fun things. Please consider it. I think that would be so awesome.
Okay. I like it.
Well, since Karla started the fun questions, let's go start with the fun questions. What's the food that you don't like that everybody likes?
A food that I don't like that everybody likes: olives. I don't like olives. Do you guys eat olives?
I love olives.
good.
Do you?
Well,
I think they're so gross.
I
can't get
feel
into it.
rich when I eat olives. I feel classy.
So I get that, but like a martini with it's one of the only cocktails I don't like because I don't like the olives.
But they're so good. They're like tart and salty and adorable.
Listen, I've tried them so many times, and I'm sorry. Carla's like, we're not friends anymore. I'm out. Listen, you asked. I don't like olives, and I stand by it.
What's the food that you love?
Yeah.
Bubble tea. Does that count as food?
Oh.
You are so Filipino. We are adopting him. Yeah, bubble tea, milk tea. That's really big
Wait,
here.
I have it. Oh no, because we just moved it around. I have usually behind me. I have a bubble tea lamp that lights up, and then when you shake it, you can see the little boba balls. But I don't even. Oh, it's like they're like in boxes. That's such a bummer. I should have taken it out.
Next time you have to show that to us because that is so freaking cute. Okay, one of the best things about living in New York, top of your head.
Oh man, there are so many things. The thing about living in New York, not during quarantine, the thing that I love, not during quarantine, even actually during quarantine, New York is still amazing. I still don't want to live anywhere else because I love the energy here. I love the vibe. I love that New York is a big city, but it's really made up of a bunch of small towns, right? Like I know everyone who works at all the places in my neighborhood, right? I know them by name. They know what I order. They help keep me alive. I help keep them open. It's like New York is such an amazing community. The thing about New York that's so special is no matter what you're into, food, art, music, culture, whatever it is, New York has it, and New York has the best of it. And and that to me is amazing because I've lived here for 10 years and there's still so much I haven't seen and so much I haven't done and so much I haven't experienced. And there's nothing like getting lost and walking around New York City. It's just the best. A fall day, you got your sweater on, you got your hat, you got music blasting in your ears, and you're just cruising around the city. There's nothing better than that, you know?
Hey,
Oh man,
that's what it's
now
all
I want to
about.
live in New York. I mean,
You really do.
my sister told me you could order like freshly baked cookies at 2 a.m. from Insomnia,
100%
and
you
they like
can. You can, and I have done that, and it's pretty great.
that sold it for me there. Cookies at 2 a.m. freshly baked. Heck yeah, Rico, you got another question?
Motto in life.
Ooh.
Oh, that's so good. Motto in life. When I think about how I want to leave people, when I think about the impact I want to have on people, it's three things. It's creativity, communication, and connectedness. I want to help people express themselves. I want to help people get off their chest whatever they got going on, and I want people to feel like they've had a connection with a human being. Those are like my three pillars, I guess.
The most genuine little bean. Okay, go to TV show or movie. Like your go to any day, sad day, good day, bad day.
Okay. The Office, definitely. We just rewatched it, and it was like a great quarantine view. And then movie, probably Almost Famous is my favorite movie. I've probably watched it 150 times or something. And or Good Will Hunting also.
Follow up question though. British or American The Office?
Oh, I like the American one better. The British one is funny, but it's like too painful. It's like too it's so and actually because they modeled the first season of the American Office after the British one, and then after the first season, or maybe just after the first like 5 or 6 episodes, they like really cut back on like the painfulness of it and made it more like made him, the main character, more likable, because it was like, I want to laugh, I don't want to be like, I don't want to be in pain. So but it's pretty amazing. We just rewatched it and it was so good.
Aww.
Love is blank.
The best.
Oh, why am I like so? Yeah, I feel like a little girl.
And also complicated, and also not a fairy tale, and also takes a lot of work, and also is really worth it. I was somebody who, as a child of divorce, I never wanted to get married. I didn't want to be in a relationship. I wasn't in a serious relationship for years and years and years until I met my wife. And even then, I went in kicking and screaming. And I didn't know who I was, and I was afraid of what it would be like to have another human being get to know me, because there were all these things about myself I didn't like, and I needed to fix, and I needed to work on. And being in a relationship and being married to someone brings out all of those things. And I mean, I definitely think meeting Jen and marrying Jen has been the best thing that ever happened to me. And I would be saying that even if I hadn't written This Is Why I Need You about her,
Oh,
Great stuff, man. Great stuff.
But
it's
the best,
we know that you have Future, and you want to give us a sample of Future?
Yeah, sure.
All right, here we go.
You're soft and sweet like rose petals. You help me believe like gold medals. Remind me to breathe when the dust settles. You keep the tides level. And mostly you're soft and sweet like rose petals. As soon as we met, I knew you were my future. As soon as we met, I knew. As soon as we met, I knew you were my future. As soon as we met, I knew.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, the talent, the sheer talent. To all the monsters listening on air, Jesse Ruben just performed a live
Just a piece
version
of it.
of
Just a piece
Future.
of it
So, I
for
mean,
you.
A
if
little
you
bit.
want to see
Yeah.
just how cute this little setup is, facebook.com. Jesse, we wish we could have you for longer. Message to all of your Filipino fans who want you to come back, dude. I mean, we want you to play these songs and
It's
hang out with us.
so it's so mutual. My trip out to see you guys was one of the best experiences of my entire life. I'd never been that far from home before. I certainly hadn't expected to have such a positive response, and I mean, the fact that there were people over there that knew about these songs that I had written in this apartment is crazy and special and amazing and beautiful. And honestly, the session I did with you guys was an absolute highlight of that trip. I still talk about it all the time. I wish that there were more radio people like you. I wish there were people that were as genuine as you. That was like, that's why I reached out to you, because I will never forget that experience as long as I live, being in your studio and hanging out with you guys and playing those songs. It was so special. And I love you guys, and I love this station so much for supporting me. It really, really means the world to me that you do. And I cannot wait to come back and hang out and for longer and better and more forever and ever and ever.
And we love you too, Jesse. You know, if ever you need milk or eggs, if you ran out, we have our refrigerator here. We'll hook you up, brother. That's
Heck
it.
yeah, man.
I promise you, the feeling is mutual. We genuinely love
Yeah.
you over here, and your tracks are only going to get better. I mean, please invite everybody to listen to Future and tell everybody what's next for you, because no pressure. But what are your plans? I mean, can we expect more songs to drop?
Yeah, we're gonna do
Christmas
so.
or anything?
So check out Future, which came out 6 weeks ago. Check out Whole World Watches, which just came out on Friday. I'm gonna have another single that comes out in January probably, and then the album is gonna come out in March.
Oh my!
Which is very exciting. I don't even know what it's called yet because I have too many ideas for the title, and so I need to figure out what it's called because it's coming out next year. Artichoke. I actually don't
on
hate that
pizza. You know what I mean? And people are like, "Why'd you call it artichoke?" Because
like
it's
you
good.
wouldn't understand.
Yeah,
You weren't
it's like
there.
it's got a
New
whole
York.
meaning to it, bro. You're just not on the same wavelength as us. But Jesse,
Thank you, Jesse.
we're
Thank you.
looking forward to all the new music and, of course, the album that drops in March. Of course,
Thank
invite
you.
everybody to follow you online so that they can watch whatever little shows you have planned, to follow all of the
Yes.
updates, because that's also really important.
Yes, so you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Jesse Ruben, and Facebook and YouTube at Jesse Ruben Music. I am going to start doing my weekly live streams, probably starting up again next year, but there's going to be all kinds of good stuff with doing private stuff and merch, and maybe I'll start a vlog because apparently my two favorite DJs want me to, so maybe I'll put a vlog on there. And a bunch of new information with new songs and performances and acoustic stuff. And we got a bunch of stuff coming up in the pipeline that's going to be really exciting. So check it out.
Before we end the interview, can we get a sample of Whole World Watches as you close us out for this one?
Okay.
Because you're just fans here.
Putting me on the spot here.
That's what we love to do.
Making me work.
Just a sample.
Yeah. Hating others doesn't feel like progress. Don't tell me not to fight. Don't lecture me on how we could have gotten this right, and we crumble while the whole world watches. Don't tell me not to fear. Don't lecture me on policies that got us all here, and we crumble while the whole world watches. We crumble while the whole world watches us.
Yeah.
Ooh, oh my gosh, dude! I swear,
You have the show.
in the studio. Like, stop it, Jesse.
Just hanging out with them. But Jesse, thank you very much. Thank you.
It's
We'll
my
catch
pleasure.
you soon. We'll have you in the studio when all things are done. But thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, once again, Jesse Ruben.
Thank you so much. You guys are the best. It means the world to me. I can't say that enough.
We love you. Take care, Jesse. Hi to your wife.
All right.
All right. There you go, Karla. Imagine that.
That man is just, you walk away from somebody and you've got the biggest smile on your face. That's because he's like one of those really nice people.
You
Damn.
know, especially in these trying times and in every moment that we go through in life, there are times when you just want to tap out. There are times you just want to be like, okay, what's next? And then
Yep.
you try to find and draw energy from something or someone or somebody. And he's that somebody that you can draw energy from, whether it's you feel hopeless or you feel like this challenge or the mountain is too big to climb. He's the dude. And the
Yep.
great music that goes along with it. You could talk to him online as well. So it's such a great conversation, man. It's some great stuff, dude. So yeah. So thank you very much to Jesse Ruben. Don't forget to request for songs here at the station, future and the world watches. It's out now. Elections big for them there, so we'll see how the result will pan out. But for
Yeah.
Facebook Live, she is Karla Aguas.
He's Rico Robles live. But on air, the riot hits continue.